What did you think of the Jerry versus Gennady match, bro? Were you surprised that Jerry got the win that day?
I'm not surprised that Jerry won. I think I picked Gennady winning that because Gennady had the tools to beat Jerry. And I think Gennady learned a lot. What I was surprised when Jerry got a flash pin on Gennady. I didn't see that coming. I never would have predicted that. You know, if you would have run I don't know what the horse betting term is, but where you bet on who wins and how they win or the order, I don't know what that's called. But I never, if one of the choices was Jerry to get a flash pin, I would have bet $0 on that. Once again, that the Jerry versus Gennady match shows how much influence refs have in the sport. And I think that's part of the reason why everybody talks about growing the sport and bringing it mainstream and doing all this big stuff to it. But watching the Jerry Gennady match was confusing. I couldn't tell what the score was. I couldn't tell whether they were calling pins or fouls. I could see fouls, but I wasn't sure if anybody was calling them. I wouldn't know what was going on. So we got a long ways to feed arm wrestling to the uninitiated masses out there. You know, if we're going to compete with UFC or high school basketball or, you know, middle school soccer, we're going to have to make the rules a lot more understandable than what they are now.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing that I wanted to say was about that round 3 when Jerry got that flash pin. And, you know, Jerry kept telling me all week leading up to that he wanted to go inside with Gennady. And anytime he would say this out loud, everybody would look at him and be like, are you crazy, bro? You do not want to go inside with Gennady. So I got to say, you know, Jerry was coming into that very confident that if Gennady took him in the hook, he was going to do exactly that. So a lot of guys just think that Jerry's that one-trick pony and he's only got that flop press. But, you know, going to a lot of his practices and seeing, you know, that dude's inside hook is also no joke. And I think he proved that day.
Oh, well, there's a lot of horsepower in that man. He can put it down in a couple of different ways. I don't know if I've ever seen Jerry in a hook myself, but yeah, that was interesting. That was exciting. I mean, even if the score would have gone the other way, that was a really, really exciting match. You know,
and the energy of that when it just stole the show that night. It was just definitely the highlight of the night.
But it was confusing because since I don't know what they have on the pay-per-view, but in the audience, they don't have that little box in the corner that tells you what the score is or what the call. So I couldn't tell who was winning. I'm sitting up there. I go, who's winning? I don't know. Did they call that? Is that a foul? You know, because Gennady would go off thinking he won, then they'd call back. It'd be a restart. So it was confusing for me to watch.
Wow. So my question for this is who's a tougher match style-wise? Is it for Jerry? Is it Gennady or is it Ermes?
Because I see myself, I think Ermes and Gennady arm wrestle kind of the same. It's just that Ermes is probably crazy faster. What Gennady's mistake on Jerry was I don't know if this is even a right term. He top rolled too much. You need to top roll enough, but you can't top roll too. If you top roll with every presser, right? They get that power when their wrist is in front of their shoulder. If you can get the wrist behind their shoulder, that pressing power decreases. And that's whether it's Michael, Todd, Devin, Jerry. I'm trying to think of who else presses a lot. Even John presses every once in a while. But so if you start off and you top roll a presser to here, you can bring them back. But if you top roll them all the way over, you let that wrist lead. Especially when you got somebody with the flexibility of Jerry who can really generate it. So I think Gennady, if Gennady's watching his match, see, I haven't watched my matches yet because it's only been a week. But if Gennady went home and watched his match with Jerry, he's going, this big light bulb just went off in his head. He goes, shit, I know what I did wrong. Because all of us who've arm wrestled Jerry were sitting up in the stands going, I know what he did wrong.
So who do you think's going to win that day, man, against Ermes and Jerry? You know, because we know Ermes is also another big top roller, and just like you said, he's got more.
I would bet on Jerry. I think Ermes is faster, but I don't know if I would say Ermes is stronger, you know. And once that match stops, transitions to power, and Jerry's got minutes worth of endurance. Although he didn't look fresh as a daisy in between rounds up there, but
No,
that
he
was probably
definitely did
because
it.
of that shirt they put on him was too small. Because I noticed he couldn't get that shirt back on after his arms blew up. But
Yeah, 5X
yeah,
wasn't big enough for him. Definitely not.
yeah. I think Jerry's clear favorite versus Ermes because Jerry's been out for a while, came back, demonstrated superb, tough, bite your tongue, hit the anvil, brute strength after being out for a while against a very explosive, excitable guy. So I don't think Ermes will be that. I mean, I think Ermes is tough. I just think I think Ermes is the underdog versus Jerry, unless Ermes comes in with a sweet recipe, and doesn't over top roll.
Yeah. So in my eyes, the thing that Ermes does different than Gennady is Ermes takes the hand and the wrist right away of his opponent and then controls him, where, Jerry is going to let him take that right away. You know what I mean? So he's welcoming that, and then he's just coming in with all that press power. So I think it's going to be the same thing where, Ermes pulls back and then just gets stuck there, and then we got an endurance war going on, and Jerry in that press and it seems like he could just sit there forever, bro. So I agree
If
with him.
Ermes takes the hand and wrist, that'll be a tough day for Jerry. If Ermes just takes the hand, then that's a better day for Jerry. So, but like I said, I think Jerry's the favorite versus Ermes because I don't think Ermes' hand will be. I think Ermes' hand will be a more comfortable to Jerry than Gennady's was, but I haven't pulled either one of them. So to be honest, I'm just guessing at this point.
Okay. And now, do you think the winner of that match, do you think Day should be the next up in line for Levon?
I've never seen Levon at East versus West. Is he even coming?
Well, what I know and what I hear is rumor is that he is going to honor Engen's East versus West, and he will compete. So, my guess is eventually he will.
Then, that guy's Russian. So, yeah. Well,
no, Levon is
Jerry holds
Georgian.
the title. Whoever beats Jerry or whoever has the title should pull Levon.